Hello everybody, welcome to this class, Vanik Smart Class for OCS Civil Service Examinations. Last class we have completed the last class we have completed the fundamental duty part. To some extent we have started that. We'll just focus on this part, and then we shall discuss some questions. I think there are some questions also. Yes. Then, if time permits, we shall start the DPSP part. Means the union executive parts. So as I was telling you that 42nd fundamental duties were not, if you have seen the yesterday concluded OCS preliminary examination, you must have found it question particularly on fundamental rights. It was asked that duties are moral duties. Yes, they are moral duties of the citizens. That is correct. So remember, they are moral duties. Their civic duties, and they are meant for citizens, but they are not enforceable. As I was telling you, they are not enforceable by the court. Duties are not binding. I have already informed you last class. The duties are not enforceable. Duties are not enforceable. That means if one is not doesn't abide by the duties or does not obey the duties, he will not be punished. But that is a different matter. The Supreme Court has said that if one is enjoying his fundamental rights, she or he should have a sense of performing his fundamental duties towards the country, towards the environment. So, willful negligence of duty might cost you, but that is not legally binding. That is to be pointed out. And it was added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. That was the 44th Amendment in the option. So that was wrong. And another thing, the 11th fundamental duty, the last 4th option preliminary. 11 fundamental duties were added through 86 amendment, but se ditla 42nd amendment. So the answer karthile 1 and 2 answer itla, and dita option thik thila, dita option bhul thila. So that was a question on fundamental rights. And the rights are inspired by the USSR Constitution, the previously known USSR, S12 USSR. Now it is called Soviet Russia, and because fundamental duties are a cardinal principle in a communistic country. They are cardinal to a communistic government, or a communist society. So we have been inspired by them. So our constitution is a combination of both so many factors, so many features of a lot of government formations. Both sara government or different government characteristics we have imbibed, we have adopted to make it a comprehensive constitution, suitable constitution. So as a citizen of India, we must be aware about our duties, not only for the sake of study but also sake of living a life of a citizen. We must know at least for once that what are our duties assigned to us by the Constitution. You can see on the screen that there are a lot of duties mentioned. So first is to abide by the Constitution and respect the national flag and national anthem. That is a kind of things that you have to respect the very Constitution which provided in India and which binds us together. We are living under a constitutional government, and Constitution is a living document. It is subject to change, so we must abide by them and respect the national flag, national anthem. It matters a lot. If we are not emotionally bound with the country, we will may not respect. But if we are emotionally bound, if we feel that it is our country and it is our motherland, then we will definitely respect national flag and national anthem and other symbols, insignias. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our struggle for freedom. So that is also a point to be remembered, that to cherish the follow the noble ideals which inspired our freedom struggles, the non-violence, truth, and the type of passive resistance that made us get our independence should inspire us from generation to generation. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of the country, that means as a citizen of the country, we have a responsibility to uphold and protect sovereignty, unity. We should not harm the unity, we should not harm the sovereignty and integrity. We should be a secular minded persons. We should not harm any community by our speech, by our action, by our anything. Then to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India. Transcending means overcrossing or setting aside religious, linguistic, and regional sectional diversities, and to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women. So we have to practice harmony among a spirit of common brotherhood, because we are a pluralistic country, we are a diverse country, we have different people, different religion, different communities, different caste, and different creeds. Above all, we are Indians, so we should bridge our gaps, and we should not fight over trifles, fight over some narrow communal feelings, and reach harm to our nationhood. So we should be secular, at least we should be secular in all respect, and we should renounce practice derogatory to dignity of women. We must respect women. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Culture is Indian culture. It doesn't belong to only one particular religion. It belongs to all religions. Okay, and as a citizen of India, it is our duty to respect all the heritages, irrespective of their moorings, irrespective of their origin. Okay, now that is to protect and improve the natural environment. It is an environmental duty, and including forest, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for creatures. Develop in scientific temper and humanism and spirit of inquiry and inform. Must remove superstitions, blind beliefs, and we must follow the scientific temper and humanism. And to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. We must abjure violence, we must be non-violent in attitude, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity. And the last duty, that is 11th duty, which was added by 86th Amendment, is for the parents or a guardian to provide opportunities for education to a child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 to 14 years. That is also to be remembered. Okay. So these are the rights, but some critics say that it is ambiguous to some extent, because it is not clear. It is not clear that yes. So that is the things we have to remember these duties as the citizen of India. But they are non-enforceable. That is a drawback of the words, and some duties are ambiguous also. So look at the duty number 2B. It cherishes and follows the noble ideals. Which noble ideals they are referred to, it is not mentioned. Whether the idealism of Bhagat Singh, whether the idealism of Subhash Chandra Bose or Mahatma Gandhi or Nehru, different ideals played role in different times of the freedom struggle. So it is not clear where to follow, what to not follow. That is also the things. And also there are certain things, and so these are the things. Other duties are not there, like important duties like duties to pay tax, duties to cast your vote. So certain duties are missing. Irrespective of certain drawbacks, also the fundamental duties constitute an important portion of the Constitution. Though not they are enforceable, but they are a teaching, a source of teaching or moral teaching to the generations to come. They will realize that they have some duties towards the country, and if they are unable to perform their duties towards the country, they may not get or avail themselves the privileges of fundamental rights. Okay, so this is the things. Now we shall come to another chapter, another portion, the difference between DPSP and fundamental right. So far as you must have understood the difference between DPSP and fundamental rights, there are various differences of fundamental rights. That is, foremost is that key fundamental rights are justiciable rights, and they are required to lead an honorable and dignified life. DPSPs are instruction to states to establish social economic democracy. So fundamental rights, I just let me concisely present it concisely. That is, first is FR is justiciable, and DPSP are non-justiciable. That means one is justiciable, another is non-justiciable. That means DPSPs cannot be enforced, the fundamental right can be enforced. Fundamental rights are negative instructions, that is instruction to the government not to do some things are negative in nature, mostly negative in nature. But DPSPs are positive in nature. They are positive instructions to the state to carry out its developmental goals or its goals for achieving a welfare state. And DPS fundamental rights promote political democracy, as DPSPs democracy. Okay, their social and economic democracy. There are a lot of different fundamental rights are promote their actions, the limitation on the action of the government, but DPSPs are instructions to the government to carry out welfare state. The objective of fundamental rights is political equality in the country. Political equality is the objective of fundamental rights, whereas welfare state is the okay. So DPSP has objectives, political objectives of the state. So welfare state means that plays a key role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of the citizen of India, citizen of the country, and basically it is focus the principle of equal of opportunities, yes, equitable distribution of wealth and public responsibility for those unable to avail themselves of the minimal provision of a good life society. Okay, so welfare state last yesterday concluded preliminary examination. There was a question, so we have done the right answer also. Equal principles of welfare state, that is the objective of the principle of the welfare state. Just let me spend some one minute I will take to discuss this. Equality of opportunity, equality of opportunities, equitable distribution of wealth and public responsibility for those to avail themselves the minimum provisions on social security. Social security to be provided, social well-being. So that is the objective of modern welfare state, and DPSP has the objectives. Okay. So that is the things. Now we shall see the other differences if there is any. But this conflict is not that DPSPs are inferior to fundamental rights. Rather, DPSPs are fundamental in the governance. I told you that in Article 37, it was there. Although DPSPs are not justiciable, but they're fundamental, they're cardinal, they're rudimentary in the governance of the country. No government or no organ of the state will ignore those policies, those principles while implementing policies, while drafting policies, while designing policies, while making plans and programs for the development of the country. No government can ignore or should ignore these principles. They must try to implement the principles in letter and spirit, because we know that the DPSPs have not been made justiciable due to certain unavoidable circumstances, the scarcity of resources. So that is the reason why DPSPs have been made justiciable. It is not that they are unimportant or insignificant, but they are as significant as fundamental rights. But for implementation of DPSP, we require a lot of resources in the country, which we may lack, or which we were lacking in the past, and also to some extent we are lacking something to provide at present also. But this conflict whether DPSP fundamental rights should always override over DPSP, or DPSP and fundamental rights should be treated on equal footing, that was debatable. And there have been many cases, like in judicial cases of Champakam Duraiarajan case, Goloknath case, fundamental rights were given primacy over DPSPs. In Champakam Duraiarajan case, it was said that fundamental rights are DPSPs are subordinate to fundamental rights. They cannot ride roughshod over the fundamental rights. In Goloknath case, it was little bit very, I can say it is very partial verdict, and it gave utmost importance to fundamental rights, saying that it is sacrosanct and it is inviolable and immutable into any extent by the parliament, but that was not there. In Kesavananda Bharati case, this verdict of Goloknath was overruled, and it was said that parliament could add ethics, and validity of 31A and C was added. 31A and C 31A and 31C were added for 25th Amendment, which gave 31A for government gave priority or some overriding powers to the state in the matter of acquisition of property, and 31C also gave power to the state to implement DPSPs even if they violate right to equality or right to freedom under Article 14 and 19 respectively. So the validity, they uphold the validity, but it was said that Parliament can amend any part of the Constitution, but it is not absolute. It must keep in mind, you must take the basic structure of the Constitution into consideration. Later in Minerva Mill case, where the objective of fundamental rights to render Parliament with absolute judicial power to amend the Constitution was overruled. And in Minerva Mill case, in the Supreme Court made a very historic declaration, judgment saying that fundamental rights and DPSPs are like the two sides of the coin, and they constitute, they are founded on the bedrock of the balance between fundamental rights and DPSP. One is not superior to the other, rather both are of equal significance, both are essential for the development of the country. For building a progressive, prosperous and democratic India, we need both fundamental rights and DPSP. They are like the philosophy or the pillars of the Constitution. So after Minerva Mill case, it is now said that though fundamental rights are justiciable, for that reason it may be to some extent superior to DPSP, but doesn't mean that DPSPs are less inferior. It is also as important, they are also as important as fundamental rights. And you have seen many provisions, many steps have been taken by successive government, both at the center and in the states, to give meaning to different DPSPs, and most of the DPSPs have been tossed once at least. So at present, although fundamental rights seems to be superior, but in all cases DPSP are also in most subsequent cases it is given, DPSPs are given certain special significance, can be implemented even by amending rights in Part 3 to the extent such amendments or abrogation do not damage or destroy the basic structure of the Constitution. So at present this is the scenario. Got it? At present this is the scenario. So we have completed this part. Justification of Union Civil Code, that is there. Okay, we'll just look at these points. Justification of Uniform Civil Code. I have written some points for your information because Uniform Civil Code is a very debatable issue in India, and though it is provided it has been provided in the original Constitution under Article 44, it is yet to be implemented, it is to be put into practice, and there is no sign of preparing it, or there is no sign of implementing it in near future. But do the Uniform Civil Codes have some significance in a country like India, which is home to different religions, different castes, communities, and there is a huge population also. Indian society is hugely diversified, hugely plural, and different people of different colors, different mindset, different religion, culture, different caste, different community live together. What is the distribution? One nation, one law to be applicable to all religious communication matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance and adoption. Uniform Civil Code होना चाहिए, क्योंकि there will be no ambiguity in violation of the law, and equal opportunity will be provided if there is one system of civil code, that is uniform marriage law, divorce law, inheritance law and adoption. The code comes under Article 44 of the Constitution, which lays down that the states shall endeavour to secure a uniform civil code for the citizens throughout the country. The objective of Article 44 of the DPSP in the Indian Constitution was to address the discrimination against vulnerable groups and harmonize diverse cultural groups across the country. Yes. So the basic objective of the Uniform Civil Code is to give justice to or protect the vulnerable sections or the poor section means or some smaller minority groups, vulnerable sections, save them from discrimination and also being a harmony among the different diverse cultural groups across the country. Okay. It was incorporated in the constitution as an aspect that would be fulfilled when the nation would be ready to accept it and the social acceptance to the uses could be met. So that was therefore not made enforceable. It was expected to come around and to be implemented until the society is prepared. The code will simplify complex laws, personal laws around the marriage ceremonies, inheritance, succession, adoption, making them one for all. The same civil law will then be applicable to all citizens irrespective of their faith. In a country like India, where the principle of equality of all citizens is enshrined in the constitution, different sets of personal laws for different religious communities go against this very principle of the constitution. This does not do away with the right to citizens to be governed on different personal laws based on the religious faith. Uniform civil code will in the long run ensure equality. This does away with, means it abolishes. With the enactment of a uniform civil code, secularism will be strengthened. It needs a progressive, right-thinking citizens and political consensus for it to become a reality. So this is the things, but if in case the UCC is applicable, then right to conscience will be violated. Article 25, right to conscience will be violated. That means a person cannot do that things on the basis of conscience. So it will no doubt strengthen secularism, but it will also affect or hurt individuals, because we are more accustomed to personal laws. So abolition of personal laws in a country where many religions flourish together is indeed a Herculean task. I don't say it is impossible task, but it is a Herculean task to do away with all the barriers, all the personal laws, and put in place a uniform civil code. So this seems to be more ideal than a reality, but the time will say whether we will have a fundamental uniform civil code or not. Okay, so we have discussed these democratic things, and now we shall just towards the end we shall focus on some DP speech outside the Part IB. There are certain directions also outside Part IB. Okay. So this is the things of your UCC. There may be a question in your mains exam regarding this, so try to understand that. Then DPSP is outside Part IB. Some duties or some instructions are also given outside Part IB. There is also first direction is claims of SC and ST to services under Article 335 of Part XIB 335. So Article 335 empowers the states or directs the states to consider the demands of the SC and ST. So that is there. Okay, so Article 335 says that the claims of the members of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes shall be taken into consideration consistently with the maintenance of efficiency of administrations in the making of appointments to services and posts in connection with in the affairs of union and states. So 335 directs the states to consider the claims or demands of the SC/ST in the service matters. Then in 350A there is also a direction to the state to arrange for the instruction to the children of minority communities in their own mother tongue at least until the completion of primary education. And development of the Hindi language under Article 351, there is a direction also. The center should take steps to improve or develop the Hindi language, and thereby allowing incentives for the writers, and also trying to open or introduce Hindi as a medium. So there have been many arrangements, many provisions are in operation, are in vogue today in the country to boost the popularity of the Hindi language. So especially Hindi language, because it is one of the major highest spoken language in the world, in the country. So that is there to be pointed out. So DP speech outside IB. So we have read certain parts. We have read most of the things about DPSP. I hope you are getting through the classes well and remembering the points. Try to practicing the points well, and also I hope you must have practiced these articles belonging to different principles first. So there are a lot of divisions where there socialist principle, Gandhian principles and liberal principles, and they are also important, and also important is your implementation of DPSP. We have shown many data, many acts and legislations were enacted by the Parliament and State Legislature to provide or give meaning to the DPSP. So DPSPs have been implemented in the country letter and spirit, but much is left to be done. Okay, so we have discussed everything. I hope you are getting through well. Try to remember the articles and also each part. Okay, now we shall come to the questionnaire. Okay, we'll now come to the questions. Okay, what will be the answer to the question? If you are there, just guess. I will tell you the answer. When you watch it, you feel. There are 12 fundamental duties laid down in the Constitution. And okay, and there are, so this is wrong. There are 11 fundamental duties. There is no provision in the Constitution of India for direct enforcement upon that is right. That was in the option in the yesterday's preliminary examination. One of the fundamental duties of every citizen is to cast his or vote in general state or elections so as to maintain vibrant democracy in India. No. So only 2 is correct here. Only 2 is correct. Answer C. Okay. Now next. So concept of socio-economic planning has been found mentioned in which of the following list in the 7th schedule of the Constitution? So that is concurrent list, socio-economic planning, and a concurrent list, that is the responsibility of both state and center. So that is the things. Next, consider the following statements, provisions consider the following provisions under the DPSP and as enshrined in the Constitution of India. Securing for citizens of India a uniform civil code, organizing village panchayats, okay, promoting cottage industries in rural areas, and securing the workers' reasonable leisure and cultural opportunities. Which of the following is Gandhian principles? So 2 and 3, I think the Gandhian principles, if you look at it, but this is a liberal principles, socialistic principles. So answer will be 2, 3. Okay, answer will be 2 and 3. Yes, B. That is the things. Next, under the constitutional arrangement in India, the state can impose reasonable restrictions on the exercise of freedom of speech and expression on various grounds. Which of the following constitute the grounds? It is a question from fundamental rights chapter, but let us work it out. What will be the answer? Just guess it. Then I will tell. So now start discussion. Sovereignty and integrity of India, that is a ground, and security of the state, that is also a ground, and friendly relation with other countries, that is also a ground. Effective interstate relation is not a ground because it doesn't count much for that. Content of code is a ground also. We have discussed. So answer will be 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. C. The numbers are missing. Answer will be C. Just look at it. This one is not there. Effective interstate relationship doesn't come on the way of fundamental rights. Okay, but the others are there. Apart from these 4, there are others also. Others rights are also there. Other conditions are also there, like more public order, morality, incitement to offense, isn't it? Defamation. So there are other 4 rights, other 4 grounds also for the enforcement of fundamental rights. You can remember them. You can recollect them also at this time, so that there will be practice. Okay. So the others are public order, incitement to offense, public order, incitement to offense, defamation. Alright, then morality. So there are number about 8 grounds on which 19(1)(a) can be expressed. 19(1)(a). 19(1)(a). By 86 Constitution, which of the duties has been added by 86 Constitutional Amendment Act 2002? Just guess the answer. Have you guessed the answer? Okay, so that will be answer A, 6 to 14. Parent or guardian. Okay. Now work out these questions. I will tell you the answer. Just guess it first. Okay, what will be the answer to first six? Not a DPSP. Develop scientific temper. DPSPs are made non-justiciable. The country may not be able to provide. So answer will be D. Mhm. What will be the answer? The first one is correct. Second one is also correct. Third one, fundamental rights are included in the original constitution but DPSP are added by no. That is also incorrect. So 3 and 4 are not indicative of the difference. Question number 9. Economic justice as one of the objectives of the Indian Constitution has been provided in. Economic justice is mentioned in the preamble and also provided by directive principle of state policy. That will be B. To preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect the weaker section of our injustice, to develop scientific temper, strive towards excellence in all spheres. The question is, which of the following are fundamental duties? So 1 is fundamental, 2 is not, 3 is 4. 1, 3, 4. Now we shall come to the next 11. Which of the following is correct? DPSPs are justiciable in nature. No. Provision of DPSP is borrowed from Russian constitution. That is not correct. Irish constitution. DPS, equal pay for equal work, is a fundamental duty, right? No. It is fundamental it is DPSP. It is a DPSP under Article 39D, isn't it? So D is correct. DPSPs promote socio-economic democracy. What is the answer to 12? Which one of the following is not a fundamental? Not a. To vote in public election is not a fundamental duty, so answer will be A. All are fundamental duties. Thirteen. Is not in, just is incorrect. Okay. So what will be the answer? Okay, look at fundamental rights are not a part of fundamental duties. That is right. That is right. Not a part. It is part 3. Fundamental rights are part 3, and fundamental duties are fundamental rights and fundamental duties are part 4A. Fundamental duties are a part of the fundamental right. That is wrong. Fundamental duties are enumerated in part IBA. Yes. 51A contains 11 duties. Yes. So answer will be B. The promotion of cooperative societies found in Article 43B were added by 97th Amendment Act D. Alright? 97th Amendment Act 2011. Consider the following statement: promote international peace and security, stick to non-proliferation of treaties, maintain just honorable relation between nations, foster respect for international law and treaty and obligation, encourage settlement of international disputes and avoid arbitrations. Which of the following are contained in Article 51, the Foreign Affairs? It contains India's foreign relationship. Directions for India's foreign relationship in Article 51 contains 1, 3, 4, 5, not 2. 2 is not there. So answer will be 1, 3, 4, 5, B. So 51 has 4 aspects: promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations, foster respect for international law and treaty obligations, encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitrations. Which of the following is the first constitutional case to deal with the conflicts between fundamental rights and DPSP? That is Durai Rajan case, 1951. Champakam Durai Rajan case, 1951. Which of the following is a fundamental duty in India? Separation of judiciary from executive is a DPSP. To preserve rich heritage is a fundamental duty. Free compulsory education is a fundamental right. Promotion of cooperative society is a DPSP. Okay, so answer will be B. Now come to the next question. The 11th fundamental duty has been added to the part IBA by '86th Amendment Act 2002. '93rd Amendment all the amendments should be practiced. Whenever you come across an amendment, get some wholesome idea about them because they are essential also. 91st Amendment is 2003, 42nd is 1976, 96 is 2011, and that became ODIA. 91st में the size of the ministry, center and states to determine करायतला. 42nd the mini constitution is described as mini constitution because lot of changes were introduced in the constitution by 42nd Amendment Act 1976. So here answer will be B. Okay. Next, 19. Fundamental duties were added to the Constitution by 42nd Amendment 1976. Originally there are 10 fundamental duties, both are right. So answer A. Okay. Now Uniform Civil Code is provided in Part IV, right? Goa is the only state to have introduced UCC, right? But recently Uttarakhand has also has introduced UCC also. But here answer will be both 1 and 2 is correct. So UCC in Uttarakhand it is proposing, it's not okay. Then 21. Equal pay for equal work has been ensured in DPSP 39D. Which DPSP bears direct impact of Gandhi's moral philosophy, Gandhian principles. Equal pay for equal work, socialist. Provision for uniform civil code, liberal. Prohibition of slaughter of cows, Gandhian. Protection of monuments, liberal. It is also liberal and it is socialist and it is Gandhian. Alright, so answer will be C. Separation of judiciary from the executive is a subject matter of DPSP 51. Article 50, sorry. Consider the following statements. Article 39A provides for free legal aid to the poor, right? National Legal Services Authority (NALSA) has been established in 1987 to facilitate it. Yes, both are correct. And 39A was added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So answer will be A. The instrument of instruction contained in the Government of India Act 1935 has been incorporated in the Constitution of India in the year 1950 as DPSP. Alright. We shall now begin with the executive. Today we shall start with it. Okay, we'll start with it, and in the coming classes we'll complete it. We shall discuss executive. And I hope you understand the meaning of executive. Executive is a paramount part or an integral part of the government. It executes the law, it implements the law for us, it is the government in action. So, what is the meaning of executive? That makes law, that plans decisions, makes plans or decisions, that implements the laws. Executive in a parliamentary setup is of greater importance. It has not only the responsibility to become a successful executive, but also to bring a cordial relationship or a durable relationship between the legislature. Because in a parliamentary democracy, executive is responsible to the legislature. So, what I mean to say, in executive in a parliamentary democracy has more responsibility than the executive in other type of democracy, like presidential democracy. Okay, and we have discussed the executive. We will discuss here the political executive, not the permanent executive, the bureaucrats. Will executive the will discuss the president, the vice president, the prime minister, the council of ministers, and attorney general. Together they constitute the executive, and the function of the executive are to implement the laws, to maintain durable or an affordable cordial relations between the legislature with the legislature, because the executive is responsible to legislature. So executive will continue as long as it has the confidence of the Lok Sabha. It also suggests amendments in the law according to its experience. So, in a nutshell, we can say executive is the government, or mostly the government, means most influential part of the government. But here I will say you that there are dual executive system in India. Dual executive is the nominal executive and the real executive. The de facto, de jure and de facto. De jure head. So president is the de jure head, and the prime minister and the council of ministers is the de facto head. All the powers of the government are vested in the president, but in real terms they are exercised by the prime minister on the advice of his council of ministers. But we shall first discuss the President of India. The President is, the President is the Union Executive, so to say. The Union Executive is mentioned in Part 5 of the Constitution. B and 52 to 78. (52) and 78 executive is confined. I told you Union Executive consists of President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers of the Attorney General of India. The President of India is the head of the state, head of the state. He is the head of the Union Executive also. He is the first citizen of the country. He is the symbol of unity, integrity and solidarity of the nation. He is the supreme commander of the defense forces. Okay, everything we shall discuss. But when there is a real executive, okay, so when there is a real executive like Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, what is the necessity of having a de jure head? Where there is a need for President? What is the need for a President when there is a real executive? Okay, first of all, President is the symbol of unity and integrity of the country. He is the symbol of unity and integrity. He is the neutral observer of the functioning of the government organs, and he ensures that no organ threatens the unity and integrity of the country. Hence, President is needed. He checks and balance. He provides checks and balance to hasty legislations by the executive, hasty actions, because President doesn't approve. He has the veto power. He can check if any undemocratic policy, if any undemocratic steps taken by the executive. He brings balance between the three organs of the government. He interferes when there is a tussle among the branches, executive and judiciary and legislature. That is also a necessity. And another role is the federal role of the President. He is the federal representative, federal figure. He not only belongs to the center but also to the states. He also looks after the interest of the state. He ensures that no state is ignored or neglected by the center, or there is no animosity between the center and states and among the states also. He has certain powers. Some certain bills are also reserved. Federal bills, which the state bills which are of federal character, will be reserved by the governor for the consideration of the President. And another thing is elected not only by the members of parliament but also by the members of the state legislative assemblies. So it is the federal role of the President. Correct judicial errors. When there is a judicial error, unintentional judicial error, The president has got the power to grant pardon over the sentences delivered by or made by any court or tribunal in the country. 72, Article 72 empowers the Parliament to grant pardons, commutations, remissions, respite and reprieve to any victim of any sentence and decide on its own if the President is convinced that the accused is not guilty or accused is innocent, then he may relieve him of the judicial sentence. So that is a great power of the President, correct judicial errors through mercy petitions. Most vital necessity of the President is to maintain continuity in the administrations. When the sitting Prime Minister dies suddenly or resigns all of a sudden, the President who holds the reign of the country, reign of administrations, he may run the country, the administration of the country with the help of the bureaucrats until the new government is set up, until the thing is brought to normalcy. So President has a very unique role in this regard. So we can say that President is highly essential in our political system, though not given direct power to exercise it. But he is a guardian, he is the protector, he is the defender of the Constitution, and he is the symbol of the country, and he is the highest constitutional authority, the model. Okay? That is the need for the President. Symbol, then we shall come to next part, qualification of the President. Article 58 tells us about the qualifications. Article 58. First of all, remember that Article 52 says that there shall be a president. That means there will be no vacancy in the office of the President, and continuity will be made. 52 deals with there shall be President. 58 deals with the qualification of the President. There are three basic qualifications of the President. Citizen of India above 35 years of age, 35 or 35 years, qualified for election as a member of House of the People. He should be a citizen of India. That means non-citizens are not allowed. He should be 35 years or above. He should have the qualification to become a member of Lok Sabha. And he should not hold a office of profit also, under any government of India, government of any state or local authority or any public authority. But remember, the sitting president, vice president of the union, governors of the state and a minister of the union state, they do not deem to have held the office of profit, hence qualified as a presidential candidate. They can qualify, they can contest election without resigning from the office. So okay, you should not hold any officer profit. So there are 4 qualifications you have reminded. And these changes in the qualification can be brought by the parliament. Election of the president. Okay. Presidential election, there are 2 types things you have to remember first. The president is elected by the members of an electoral college. It is mentioned in Article 54. The electoral college consists of the elected members, that is most important, elected members of both houses of parliament, elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states and union territories of Delhi, Puducherry, and you can add J and K also. That means nominated members of the house of the union legislature and state legislature do not participate in the elections. And along with them, the members of the state legislative council also do not also participate in the election of the president. Okay, so that is the things. And another thing, if an assembly is dissolved, the members cease to be qualified to vote in the presidential, if even the election is not declared. So the members of the dissolved assembly are not entitled to cast their vote in the elections of the president. Okay, there should be no. So in case of dissolve, in case of 28 states, if some states assembly are dissolved, that will not affect the election of the president, but they cannot participate in the elections. So vacancy in the electoral college will not affect the election of the president. Any vacancy in the office in the electoral college of the president may not affect the election of the president. Okay. And just let me see the system. It is 54 electoral college. So the name of the system is not mentioned. Name of the system of election, that is proportional representation. By means of single transferable vote. In secret ballot. And this system is mentioned in Article 55 clause 3. So 54 or 55 between difference. 54 deals with the composition of the electoral college, whereas 55 deals with the system of the elections. And which constitution is the source of presidential election? The Irish constitution. The Irish constitution is the source of presidential elections. Okay. Okay, so these are the thing, and the constitution provides that there shall be uniformity in the scale of representation of the different states, as well as parity between the states as a whole, election of the president. There should be uniformity of representations. So how the uniformity is maintained? Accordingly, the value of votes of ML and MPs are calculated in a particular format. The value of vote upon MLA is total population of the state as per a census, total number of elected members in the state legislative assembly into 1 by 1000 or divided by 1 by 1000. That will be the total value of the elections. Take example, if a particular state has 3 crore population, 3 crore population, that means Odisha, and its member is 150 members, into 1 by 1000 आएगा, 1 by 1000 ଆମେ ଏଟା କାଟିଦେବା, 0 ରେ କାଟିଦେଲେ ଆଉ ରହିଲେ କେତେ 3000 divided by 15. So, one MLA will have 200 votes. Are you getting the point or not? Then after the calculation of votes of MLA, the MP's vote will be calculated. Total value of all votes of all MLAs of the state will be calculated. Total state-wise will be calculated, and it will be divided by total number of elected members of parliament. If you can consider the total number, it is 543 plus 233. 776 members will be added, and the MP's vote value will, one MP will be determined. You can conclude that the vote of MP is of equal value. All the MPs are of equal values. Votes of all MPs are of equal values, but votes of all MLAs are not of equal values. That varies from state to state. Someone may be the lowest one, someone may be the highest one. In case that Sikkim may have the lowest number of vote values, and West Bengal has highest number of values. At present, Uttar Pradesh is also one of the leading states which has the highest value. Okay, so these are the factors taken into consideration to establish the value of the vote upon MP or MLA. After this, an electoral quota is determined. The formula for electoral quota is given on the screen. You can easily notice it. Total number of valid votes means the real votes polled into 1 plus number of posts, that is president 1 is equal to 2 plus whole 1. So if the total number of votes is 5 lakh, then it will be divided by 2 plus 1. So 250 1. Okay, so if the candidate gets the vote, he will win. The winner must get this number of votes. Okay, now each member of the electoral college is given only one ballot paper. The voter, while casting his vote, is required to indicate the preference of the vote. I will tell you that, but first remember there are electors who have written it somewhere else. Just I want to show you. That is the one. Nomination of candidates for elections of the president must be subscribed by 50 members and 50 electors. Because Presidential Election Act, President's Election Act, (1974) provides for this arrangement. It was increased in 1997. It was increased. So 1997, and there is a need for security deposits 15,000 with the Reserve Bank of India, which will be refundable in case the candidate secures at least 1/6 of the valid votes polled. Okay, so this is the conditions. Now in the ballot paper, if you see, the ballot paper, you see there will be, suppose 3 candidates are contesting the elections. So that will be labeled as 1, 2, 3, and that will be the name of the candidate, name, then there will be first preference, second preference, and third preference. So XYZ, some candidates come to cast his vote and he gives first preference to X, second preference to Y, third preference to Z. Some gives first preference to Z, second preference to X, and third preference to Y. In this way, each member will cast his vote. And after the voting is complete, the candidate securing the number of first preference votes will be calculated. If any candidate achieves the quota, he will be declared elected. Otherwise, the ballots of the candidate securing the least number of first preference votes are cancelled, and his second preference votes are transferred to the first preference votes of other candidates. The candidate securing the least number of first preference votes will be eliminated, and the second preference votes of the candidate will be transferred to the remaining candidates. In this way, the process will continue till a candidate achieves the electoral quota. So you can see a very long and very complicated procedure is followed, but it is not exactly the proportional representation system. It's sometimes called alternate post system. Alternate post system means there is only one post, election is held for only one post. But in proportional system, elections are held for many posts at a time simultaneously. Okay? And another thing, there was no need to introduce direct election for the president, because president is the nominal head, is the ceremonial head, de jure head. So expensive direct election is not really needed for the election of the president. Hence, the makers of the constitution provided for the indirect election of the president, and the name of the system is proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, and this is borrowed from the Irish constitution. Okay, so once the quota is achieved, the examiner will the candidate will be declared the elected president. Okay, then president takes the oath. Look at the oath. So oath of the president is found in Article 60. Article 60 contains the oath. And look at the oath taken by the Indian president. Okay guys, so we shall come to this part, and the next class we shall be discussing the rest part of the president from oath. We shall start terms and other procedures, impeachment and powers also. So get along with us for this unique course delivery. Okay, we shall be back next week in Indian polity, and start from the oath taking of the Vice President of India. The oath of the President is administered to him by the Chief Justice of India. Okay. So let me close the class and see you soon after the